You're with Paul Turton on ABC Newcastle.
It's 9:09. We're going to throw ourselves into a David and Goliath battle. A local businessman says that the EPA is trying to drive him out of business by using delaying tactics after suspending his operations. The EPA, as you would imagine, has a different perspective. We'll present both sides of that soon. And we're going to talk about teachers and the way they're taught. There's a new recommendation and expert recommendations. That's ahead of us here on ABC Newcastle if you'd like to be part of that. A Toronto businessman has called the state's Environmental Protection Agency bullies. He's put together a change.org petition which has over 10,000 signatures of support now. So what's this all about? Well, we'll throw ourselves into it in just a tick.
This week on Landline, Australian know-how transforming the care of buffalo in Laos.
Putting blocks with these cattle sees high milk production, sees better calf survival, you see more income in families. An extra calf a year means a child can be educated.
And meet the young shearing boss recruiting new workers from all walks of life and from all over. That's Landline, Sunday at 12:30 on ABC TV and streaming on ABC iView.
Well, I don't mind a good old-fashioned David and Goliath battle, and since I was away last week, I couldn't talk to Damien Jensen, who's gone public about his stink with the EPA. So I've come down to Mulch, the business here in Toronto, that's at the centre of this dispute for a bit of a catch-up. Not much going on down here, Damien?
Not much at all. Very quiet out here.
Why do you think you're in the right?
Because we have never polluted the environment. We've run a very good business for just over 2 decades now. And we've done the right thing the whole time. We've been pushed and bullied by the EPA, and we've followed the guidance, followed what they've said, and now they've gone to a shutdown. It's hard to believe, hard to handle.
You were on the telly last week on A Current Affair. You're on Channel 9 NBN. I'm sure over the last week or so the EPA's come back to you cap in hand and said we got it all wrong, Damien.
I wish they had. I wish they'd even speak to us, but no, they haven't come back at all. And yes, it's been stressful times because now I don't have a business at all.
Has anything happened over that week?
Yes, we got our case. We lodged an appeal through a solicitor, and that went to the Land and Environment Court on Friday. And the Land and Environment Court ordered the EPA to have discussions with us. Come and see it. They saw the case as so minor, they said we should enter conciliation and discuss the case. And the EPA's first availability is the 8th of November of this year, a long way away.
Will you still be around on the 8th of November?
No. I mean, I will. Business won't be. We'll be out of business. Our employees, we can't afford to keep paying them for that long. Our customer base, customers will be gone. All the customers that rely on our business, they're going to have to try to find services elsewhere, go to council or find another way to do it.
How many people work here, Damien?
We've got near 20 employees, and that stretches out to hundreds of businesses that rely on us. Little small contractors doing landscaping and gardening, up to bigger contractors that do developments, and all of those guys rely on our service.
Damien, it's a long time until you get a meeting with the EPA. They can hold out, can't they? And does it seem right to you that the longer they hold out, the harder it is for you? So they can technically win by driving you out of business, not by winning the case.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. We can go through this process through the court system, and at the end of the court system win, but it'll be too late. The EPA will have already won by just putting us out of business. They don't need to win the court case. They just need to put us out of business, and they've won. And that is likely to happen, within a couple of months. There's no way we can hold out 6 months, 12 months to go through the entire court process, and the EPA know that. They're very well aware of that, so they will win just by us going out of business.
Does it strike you as being a little bit ironic? I'm trying to get my bearings here, but I know we're not too far from Araring and we're not too far from Vales Point. Now, those businesses are licensed to pollute.
Correct.
Is that ironic to you?
That's very ironic. Araring, with I think it's about 40 million tonne of waste on site, is about 3 kilometres from here. You can actually see the stacks from my office. You can see the Araring stacks where they're burning the coal and pushing that ash out into monstrous dams. And we've got a council-run facility only a kilometre, just over there, just over the side there, another facility that's licensed and does very similar to us, but much, much bigger than us.
Why are you so confident that you're not polluting the environment? You've got a lot of mulch and stuff here. Are there harmful elements? You've got high levels of fertilisers, I'd imagine in some cases. There might be ammonia present. Why do you think it's not making its way into the waterways?
We get regular testing done. We've got experts that come in and test that, so we've got all those results. We don't have any fertilisers. We don't use any chemicals. It's completely natural. So it's branches, leaves, greenery from your garden. Comes in here, it's at very low levels, below the threshold that the EPA even consider to be a risk. So those are collected into dams, those dams are tested, those dams do not go out into the creeks, they do not release, that's all held, and that water gets regularly tested, and we abide by all the rules, and we're below the threshold within the Act, so we're not polluting. We know we're not polluting, we can't pollute. It's leaves, branches, mulch, that's it, no chemicals.
Damien, surely rules are rules, though. Shouldn't you comply like everyone else does with the EPA rules? Are you getting some sort of commercial advantage by not complying?
Absolutely, I completely agree. Rules are rules, and that's what we're standing by. We're sticking to the rules. The Parliament set within the Act and within the regulations a requirement to be below a certain size. It's got a threshold, and we are below that. And that's where we are operating. The EPA is fully aware of this, and we're trying to work with the EPA to amend our licence. We've made that request. It's a very simple 5-minute process, and then all of this goes away, but they refuse to. They don't want to amend it. They don't want to work with us. They want to shut us down. It's an administrational change to a licence to change the conditions, and it all goes away.
Damien, this is not the first time you've crossed swords with the EPA.
No, it's been a long, drawn-out process through the court system, probably dating back 14 years. Just getting consent to come on to site and operate this facility, that was a very long battle in the Land and Environment Court. We were successful there, and the court demanded the EPA issue us what's called an EPL, which is an Environmental Protection Licence, and the EPA refused to do that. So very soon after, we found ourselves back in court again, fighting the EPA again to have that licence issued. Eventually, after that court hearing, which is extraordinarily expensive, the EPA were ordered by the court to issue the licence. That dates back probably 5 years, and here we find ourselves again going back to court with an appeal to fight the EPA again for the same site.
And what we're talking about here is crushed up foliage, crushed up plants.
Absolutely. It's nothing but what comes out of the garden. Just a garden in any mum and dad's yard comes in here, branches, leaves, sticks. We turn that into mulch and soil, landscape supplies. That's all we do.
You don't add chemicals?
Absolutely not. No chemicals at all.
Another of your neighbours, Damien, is Lake Macquarie City Council. They have a mulching contractor on site there. What's their role in all of this?
I'm not sure what their role in all of this is. They're a different operator to us. They're a much larger operator. But what we're doing here on site is very different. We're just doing branches, leaves, mulch, a very small operator.
So how do you see this playing out? Obviously you don't want to lose your business.
No, certainly don't. I can only hope that we get enough support from the local community. To date, I think we've got over 11,000 signatures on the petition, and we'd really love to get this to the Minister. So the Minister, Penny Sharp, can have a look at it, go over it, look at the particulars, come back to the EPA and just ask the questions, ask the correct questions. Why is this happening? Why are they being treated like this? And have a look at this across the whole industry. It's not just my site. They have a habit of picking certain operators and just bullying until they close down, and then they move on.
Damien Jensen there from Mulch. I went out to the site yesterday. Now, in response, the EPA has directed us to their website. Now, I'm assuming that Mr. Gathercole is very, very busy, but does that seem fair if the court has directed the EPA to speak to an operator over this dispute that the earliest available opportunity is November? Does that pass the pub test with you? And what about this issue of mulch? What I don't get is that land care groups use mulch when they plant to prevent erosion around our waterways, don't they? Isn't that a recommended practice? And is the mulch in our gardens so full of ammonia that we should be concerned? Some key issues coming out of this fight between a local business and the EPA, and none of this, of course, should lower our guard in regard to protecting our environment. It's 9:23, and this is ABC Newcastle.